Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Gabby, and today we are going to be detailing the interior of this 4Runner. I actually had a subscriber reach out to me. They had just recently gone on a spring break trip and their car got all kinds of dirty, and they were hoping that I would be able to detail it for them. So I took them up on that offer because I am looking for all sorts of dirty cars to detail. I'm super grateful that there are people out there willing to let me learn and experiment on their cars since I am brand new to the detailing world. It's really great to get this kind of experience. And the biggest thing for me this time was taking all of your guys' tips and tricks that I got on my last video. You guys had lots of helpful things and I tried to implement as many of them as possible into this video. And B, I wanted to take the seats out. That was a really huge goal of mine. I wanted to see what it would be like to actually try and remove the seats. I didn't know how difficult it would be. And if you have the right tools, it's really not a big deal. One thing I learned very quickly is that this wrench was not long enough. I needed way more leverage. I actually have a really long one, which I ended up using later. I unfortunately did not bring the proper attachment for it though, so I suffered along for like an hour and a half trying to use this small one before I gave up and just called my boyfriend and had him bring me the right attachment. I don't work from home right now because I live in an apartment, so I don't have access to all of my tools, which is kind of annoying, but hopefully we are going to be moving into a house in the next couple months, and then I'll actually be able to work from home, which will be so great. Alrighty, so as soon as I got all the seats out of the car, I went ahead and went through all of the trash and the owner's belongings. So I had two buckets. I put all the trash in one and all of their belongings in another so they could go through those later. And then I got to vacuuming. This made such a huge difference. As soon as I had it vacuumed, the carpet looked so much better. Okay guys, so I totally heard you when a bunch of you told me I needed to be wearing gloves. I guess it just didn't really cross my mind when I was working on my own car, but you're absolutely right. I need to be able to protect my hands and keep them safe from not only the gross stuff in people's cars, but also the chemicals that I'm using. So really good suggestion. Thank you guys. So as I'm moving around the car doing the vacuuming, I'm using that detail brush to get in the tiny cracks and crevices so I can really vacuum out as much as possible, because when I come back around to clean all the plastic and stuff and I get my detail brush in there, all that stuff's gonna come out. So I just wanted to get it right up front. So if you guys haven't seen my previous detailing videos, I'll link those in the iCard, but in both of those, I mentioned how I obsessively watch The Detail Geek and Stauffer's Garage, and this little trick here I got from them. This is so freaking handy. If you can pressure wash out all of the door jambs and all that plastic, it makes everything go so much faster because so much dirt and grime builds up in there. If you can just blast it all out and make sure you don't get any water in the car, you're good to go. It really speeds things along. So this time for the carpet extractions, I actually used a legit carpet cleaning solution. Last time I tried to use the Law's Totally Awesome all-purpose solution, and I think one of you guys had mentioned that that's not a super great idea to use that on the carpets. So this time I went legit, and my extractor actually came with a little bottle of carpet solution, and I kind of forgot about that, so I had purchased a big jug of carpet cleaning stuff, but I ended up using the tiny one that I got with it just to try, and this stuff foams up like crazy. I didn't realize how sudsy it would be, and it took me a couple tries to realize that I didn't need to use as much solution as I was using, because when it came to extracting, it took a lot of passes to get the water running clear because there was just so much soap in the carpet. So I don't know if it's the same way with all carpet cleaning solution, but this one especially got super soapy. So I would just like to preemptively apologize for the crazy lighting that's about to happen. I set up this shot when it was cloudy and everything looked really good, and then the sun came back out and things got crazy. Something else I would like to mention, which is yet another tip from you guys, is to throttle back with the drill brush action. In my last interior detail video, I had it fully cranked all the way up, and it just felt so out of control and all the solution was flying everywhere. If you go at half speed, it makes such a difference. You still get a totally good scrub on the carpet, no problems there, and you don't make nearly as big of a mess. And the biggest thing for me is the drill was so much easier to control. I didn't feel like I had to tense up so hard to keep it under control. So thank you again for that tip. So I would like your guys' suggestions on maybe angles of shots that I can shoot. What do you guys prefer watching? I know one of you had mentioned in my last video that everything was sped up and that you like slower shots every once in a while, so I tried to include more of those, but are there any angles or new interesting ways you'd like me to shoot? I don't know, I'm still in the testing phase, so if you have any suggestions on better ways to set up the camera, please let me know. Alrighty, we are on to cleaning off all of the plastic and all of the seats. So I'm using my all-purpose cleaner, diluted 20:1. It comes in a concentrate, so you have to dilute it. Luckily, as one of you guys suggested, instead of using my pump sprayer, I get myself a little spray bottle. So that worked out way better than trying to use my pump sprayer like I did last time. After I got everything all cleaned off, I went ahead and used a leather conditioner on the leather. I don't know how I feel about the one I got. It's a Meguiar's brand. I'll obviously link it down below with everything else that I used in this video, but I don't know how I feel about it. It feels like it got smudgy really easy after I did it. I felt like I kept having to go over it every time I touched it, so I don't know if you guys have the same opinion of it or not, but let me know if there's something better that I could be using. And then, like I did before, I used the Chemical Guys Silk Shine for all the plastic in the car. Really love that stuff. I would like to try the 303 Aerospace because I know a lot of you were suggesting to use that, and I kind of hear 50-50 on the suggestions on which one I should be using, so I definitely want to try that one next and do my own personal comparison, but as it stands, I really love the Silk Shine. So I actually did a little bit of research on cleaning leather seats before I got a hold of this car because I wanted to make sure I did everything right. I had heard that there was like a clear coating on leather seats in cars now that makes it so you can clean them really easy and the leather can't get messed up, but I just wanted to confirm all that. So I'll link the video that I watched that gave me the most information on this. I'll link that down below if you want to check that out. But basically what I learned is they have this clear coat on the leather now, so it's really hard to damage the leather. So you can use all-purpose cleaner on it and not mess it up. And then as for leather conditioner, this guy was suggesting like different waxes and things, but I just went ahead and got a random leather conditioner. So I don't know, like I asked before, if you guys have any better suggestions for what to put on the leather seats after I clean them, please let me know. I just kind of wanted something to like slick them up and make them look really nice. Also, when you see me vacuuming the leather seats, before I did all of that, I sanded down the plastic tip of my vacuum. You want to make sure you sand down the tip either by dragging it on the concrete or in carpet or with actual sandpaper. Make sure that it's smooth, because if you start running a jagged plastic edge along the leather, it's gonna rip it and tear it, and you can't fix that. So definitely make sure the tip of your plastic vacuum is nice and smooth. So at this point, the sun was setting very quickly and I needed to move the car out of this driveway. And so that meant that I had to put the seats back in and re-plug the battery back in so I could actually drive it. But the whole point of taking the seats out was so that I would have easy access to the stuff in the car, including the center console. So really quickly, before I wrapped things up for the day, I hurried and wiped down this center console, at least on the outside. That way I could throw the seats back in there and I could pull the car into the garage for the night. I really wanted to get this detail done in one day. It was my big goal, but unfortunately there were a couple of hang-ups. Right out the gate in the morning, taking the seats out took way longer than I expected. Again, a learning curve. That's why I wanted to practice taking them out so I could get a feel for how it works and what tools I need. But that slowed me down like an extra hour, I'd say. And then I had a bit of a hiccup with the pressure washer. All I wanted to do was spray out the door jambs, but every time I plugged in the pressure washer, I was like flipping a breaker. And it took me so long to figure that out. At first, I thought I broke the pressure washer, and then I realized that it was the outlet, like the cord wasn't even working. So then I thought it was my extension cord and blah, blah, blah. Turns out I flipped a breaker, so I had to find the breaker box and flip that back, and it was a whole nightmare. So that wasted at least another hour of time. Suffice to say, I did not get this finished in one day like I had hoped, but that is all right. I just had a little bit left to do the next morning. Side note, if you weren't already aware, car seats are really freaking heavy. I don't know how I got these in and out of the car. It was a real task, and I gotta say, my back was a little sore for the following couple days, but proud to say I did it, even if it didn't look cute. Alrighty, it is the next day and we are going to finish this thing strong. We are starting out with the floor mats. I wanted to give them enough time to dry throughout the rest of the day when I was finishing up the car. Spoiler, they weren't dry by the end of the day. I'm thinking that the next time I'll just do these first, like right at the very beginning of starting a detail. That way they can be back in the car for the after pictures. So lucky me, I'm out here trying to finish up all the detailing stuff and get these little step pads all cleaned up, and what do you know, it starts to rain. So I quickly had to get inside the car and shut all the doors and get as much done on the inside as I could and try and save all the door panels and stuff for last. Thankfully, it didn't rain for very long, maybe like a half an hour, which was just the perfect amount of time to get all the rest of the inside stuff finished up. So now I'm on to the inside of the center console. I almost forgot to do this completely. I don't know why it popped into my brain, but I remembered to open it up and it was still full of all the owner stuff, so I quickly grabbed that out and put that in their bucket of stuff. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered. I'd have been so embarrassed if I forgot that. And we are on to the door panels. When I got to these, I was so thankful I pressure washed out the door jambs. That made this process so much faster. All I had to do was quickly wipe down all the parts in the door jambs. It really made this process way quicker. So the detail brush came in super handy here at the bottom of the door. You can't see it very well, but there were like huge chunks of muddy dirt caked on to the bottom frame of the door. That detail brush cleaned it up super quick. Another great tip I got from you guys was to stop throwing my towels on the ground because it contaminates them, which you're totally right. So I was just using the lid from my detail container box. I keep all my detailing stuff in a big plastic container. So I just grabbed the lid and used that as I moved around the car to be as like a little catching place for my rags. So I was getting ready to finish up and I noticed the headliner had tons of little scuffs all over it. I don't think this camera angle does it justice, but there was stuff all over this thing. And it was a perfect time to get out my Folex and give that a try. I have heard such great stuff about Folex and how well it works to get stains and crap out of carpet. So I wanted to give it a go on the headliner and it worked amazing. Alrighty guys, we have made it to the final stretch. I am finishing everything up by doing the windows very last. I just want to take a second and thank you guys so much for all the support you've given me over the past few weeks. I had no idea I would have such a positive response to detailing, and the detailing community here on YouTube is so nice and so supportive. I truly cannot thank you guys enough. If you have any more suggestions or tips or tricks for me, please let me know down in the comments. You guys have been so helpful in teaching me how to do all this stuff super professionally. And again, I just appreciate it so much. So without further ado, here are your before and after shots. If you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe. I have one nasty car for next week. This is for sure the most disgusting car I have gotten my hands on so far, so I'm super excited to share that with you. So definitely stick around for next week's video. Alrighty guys, that's all I have for you. I'll see you next time. Bye!